How you doing? Brian Polachak coming at you. And here I'm going to discuss a little bit about why intermittent fasting needs to be at the basis of almost any weight loss program. Um, I I do a lot of health work. I'm a chiropractor for over 22 years, and what I've seen in my office come in and out is a lot of people have sciatica, a lot of people have neck pain, back pain, you name it, the typical stuff that the chiropractors see. But now, in the last 10 years, maybe even more, there's been much more gut problems, weight problems, IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, dysbiosis when your gut bacteria is all screwed up. That screws up all your hormones. That affects your brain focus. That affects your ability to concentrate, your ability to have energy. And all these things are at the basis of hormones, which affects our sleeping, affects our mood, affects our metabolism and our weight loss and our ability to lose weight. And all these things go in. That was someone calling me. All these things go in and affect our health. So at the basis of almost every successful weight loss program, you need to work on intermittent fasting. And what does that do? It's extending the window of how often that you eat. And most people eat 5, 6 meals a day. Some people have snacks. It's trying to get your window of time to 16 to 18 hours of not eating and about 6 to 8 hours of eating. And what happens is the longer you go for fasting, the more your body's forced to dig into your fat cells, to dig into your liver, and to suck those fat cells out and start to become a fat burning machine. It also stops feeding the gut all the time. So your digestive system wasn't designed to eat all the time, in case you haven't noticed. Before we had refrigerators, before we have all the technology that we have, we were scavengers in the woods. We used to have to go out and find food, and it was feast or famine. If you found something to eat, you ate a whole bunch of it, and then you might not find it for a while. That's the way nature is designed. That's the way that our bodies are designed. So what ends up happening is, by eating all the time, we've made ourselves sicker and sicker. And yeah, between Thanksgiving and New Year's, we do tend to eat more. That's okay. But it matters what you eat between New Year's and Thanksgiving. That's more important. So all this, we bombard our bodies all the time, and our digestive system never gets a break. We have so much genetically modified food. We have so many other things in our gut. And what ends up happening is we take in a lot of chemicals. We have a lot of toxins, and those get into our system. Genetically modified foods, our body's never seen that before. We have chemicals in the foods, pesticides and herbicides, which kill our natural bacteria, which helps us break down food. And what ends up happening is we can't digest our food. People get bloated. They get leaky gut problems. They get all kinds of the problems that I mentioned earlier in this video. And what happens is then they blow up. So when your body gets wicked toxic and the intestines start to swell, the spaces where the bigger junk can get into your body start to come. That stuff gets into your bloodstream. It starts to cause inflammation. It starts to cause toxicity. And then your body says, hey, you know what? To dilute the toxicity, I am going to retain water. Yes, Fred, that's right. You know, I could put someone on a 4,000 calorie a day diet and still help them lose weight because calories mean nothing. If you know anything about calories, they took calories from science and said, if I burn food in an oven, how much heat does it produce? That's how they get a calorie. So when a Coke and an avocado have the same amount of calories, you can't compare one to the other. One has a nutritional value that's way different than the other one. So your body has to go for periods of time of not eating, which is super healthy, to reset your gut, to reset your hormones, to burn fat through the liver, to flush out your gallbladder and your liver. And this is what I do in some of my Healthy Me programs is we go through, that's the big component, intermittent fasting, going for longer periods of time. But the problem is people lose willpower. Eating clean is the key, correct? But you're not as healthy as what you eat. You're as healthy as what you absorb. So a lot of people go on healthy diets and they're not absorbing the nutrients because their gut ain't working right. And that's why the diets they go on that don't work. So the first thing we have to do is work on bringing down inflammation and making the gut healthier. And that's the first 2 or 3 weeks of my healthy me program, and then we go into exercise, and then we go into mindfulness, accountability. But intermittent fasting has to be at the basis of all of it, because I've had clients lose 90 plus pounds in a year or less doing that. The typical weight loss of my 6-week program, and by the 6 weeks, is about 20 plus pounds for people. But they notice inflammation goes down, they can sleep better, energy improves, focus, motivation, willpower goes down. Because if you're not hungry all the time, and if you can tap into what hormone controls your satiation or your ability to want to eat, what happens? Willpower goes down. You don't need so much willpower to lose weight, because you're burning your own fat, and then your body's like, I got enough nutrients, I'm happy. And then when you get to that point there, you've lost the weight that you want to lose, and you've got more energy and more motivation. Like, exercise is the least efficient way to lose weight. The most efficient way is diet. It's anti-inflammatory diets, detox diets. Intermittent fasting is at the basis of all these, and this is why these are so important. And I have programs that I help people with to help lose weight, bring down inflammation, reduce the need for willpower, and they're up. And I'll put them, if anyone wants to know more about it, I'll put it up below. Yes, blood pressure, but why does blood pressure there, Fred? Blood pressure is there because when your blood gets toxic, your body's like, I got to retain more water. It's fluid in the blood that expands the pressure. It's not even high blood pressure. It's not always the tightening of the arteries. A lot of times it is, but it's toxins on the body. And then your body tries to dilute the toxins. It needs more water retention. That's where the weight gain, the blood pressure, the toxicity, the excess inflammation is. So again, if anyone wants to know more about my program, you can write in, or I'll hold it below. But hopefully you learned something today about how important intermittent fasting is. Fasting, going for longer periods of time, reducing insulin resistance. Let's go over like type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes is not an insulin problem. Everyone thinks that it is. It's an insulin resistance problem. Your cells resist insulin. They're not accepting insulin because we've been bombarded our bodies with too much sugar. That's the problem. And so we have to go for longer periods of time of not eating and reduce the resistance of the cells to the insulin. The insulin is not sensitive anymore. The body's been bombarded. That's what type 2. Type 1 is usually you don't make insulin, or your pancreas has been destroyed by an autoimmune disease, and then you need insulin. But the other one, 90% of people on type 2 diabetes could get off of all their insulin if they do it the right way. The thing is that no one's teaching them how to do it. My mother is a diabetic, and when she was in the hospital for a while for her problem, I was appalled at the food that they were giving her while she was at the hospital. It was horrendous. It was something that you don't feed a diabetic. And they assumed that since my mother's on insulin, she needed to eat that. But that was exactly what was causing her type 2 diabetic problem. And until she got her diet together, it wasn't going away. So you're right, Fred. It's crazy what's happening to people. It's crazy what's going on in this world. There's a lot of stress, which is another thing. I work on my program for stress reduction, anti-inflammatory. You're kicking butt, Fred. I love it. And we can all do better. We can all do better. And I'm here to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. With a lot of stress that's going on, and sometimes you can't help but speaking out about things, but now I'm going to get focused on, yes, it should be part of the curriculums when the diet and clean eating. The problem is my wife, there's a huge systemic problem. No one knows what to eat. No one knows how to bring down inflammation and detox, and it should be taught at the schools. The problem is that school systems, they don't allow, they don't make money. If you fed them healthier foods, a lot of those schools rely on the money for the cafeteria. And what happened is they go to a healthy program, and what ends up happening is, no, the kids don't buy it. They bring their own lunches because they want the junk. And so it's hard to start an educational program for kids, but that might be the next thing that we need to do, is to educate the parents and the kids of the importance of healthy lifestyle. So I hope you find these interesting, and if you do, share them with your friends. But you're right on, Fred. It's hard, and I've gone to schools, and it's funny. I'll tell you a story. I went to a school, and I was teaching video slides about the different kind of vegetables and fruits that are good for you. Like grapes are good for your heart. They look like a heart, a bunch of grapes. And carrots are good for your eyes because they look like eyeballs. And celery is good for your bones because they're long and extended. Well, somebody in the school, I was talking to the kids about nutrition. That's it. one of the kids went home and their parents are medical doctors, and they sent a complaint to the school that I couldn't go back because I was teaching something holistic at the school, that because I was a chiropractor. And that was a bit of a setback, but you know what? That happens. And I'm on a mission to tell the truth and to help people. So that's what I'm going to do. I appreciate y'all listening in. Hopefully you're having a good weekend. Everyone's safe. Everyone's healthy. Time to get back on health. And you know, there's still time to get involved in boosting your health. If people did my program and I'm starting and opening up early, you could almost lose the weight that you want to lose by the time the new year's here. Imagine hitting your New Year's goal before the New Year's here. Crazy. That could happen. All right. Peace out, everyone. Have a great night.